Is that you, Cepta? Bridie here. Oh, the line is awful crackly. No wonder I'm stuck out here for another week. Oh, God, it's great to hear you. Where am I? Sure, I'm on that boat. Remember I told you, and I'm browned off, up steps and down steps, making small talk and eating too much. But what can you do when it's put down in front of you? Himself says he never ate as good in his life, stuffing himself, and he with diabetes. I should never have let him talk me into a cruise. Water, morning, noon and night, nothing to be seen, only water. News? Well, I have news. I should have called you, but you're across the earth, and I never got used to the texting. Takes too long, and my fingers would be crippled. Do you remember the Rosie, the red-haired one from beyond the mountain? She went to England a few years ago. Well, she's back, and you'd never guess but she has a one with her, and she says she's her wife. So where does that leave Rosie, I ask you? Her brother in the home place won't let her in, leaving her to the height she grew outside the door. You do remember him. He was always a bit of a Lutheran one, and then he married the one from the town, and she smartened him up a bit. Mind you, they're doing well now, I hear, with the Airbnb. Now, before I forget, that new priest has us driven mad with his guitar at 12 Mass. Now, bad enough if he could play, but he only has the few chords. And the singing, well, musha God help us. Me 2-year-old grandson would do better. Mary in the post office rang the bishop, and he told her music was good for the soul. Not that sort of bawling, says she, and the bishop hung up on her. So that put her into a spin altogether. Then we heard that the Kelly's son is after going off to India after some lassie he met when he took up the yoga. You do know them. The father was known as Hang On, for he was always scrounging a pint of some Egypt or another. Yeah, those Kellys. And herself with notions with the fountain in the front garden that's never on. Sure, they wouldn't waste water and the like of it. Johnny himself, sure, he thinks cruising is the best thing ever. Thinks he's the life and soul, making a show of himself at the karaoke every night, thinking he's Tom Jones or Frank Sinatra. Sure, none of his crowd, including himself, had a note in their heads. A cinder under the drawer, as my poor mother used to say. Then what do you think? He took a notion to get into the pool. Now, it's no bigger than the slurry pit, and there he was splashing and leaping like a kid goat. I pretended I didn't know him, and he roaring at me to come in. So I took myself off to the beauty salon, where a young one plastered my face with mud and left me lying on a bit of a bed under a bit of a blanket for a good hour. Then she washed it all off and told me I looked 10 years younger, so I'm after buying a few pounds of the mud. I don't know how I'll get it into the suitcase. When himself sees it on the card, I'll tell him I was getting my gardens done. Let me think. Oh, sure, I nearly forgot the best bit of all. Isn't me daughter Sheila after getting engaged to that young doctor fella that she met on a blind date? He's a bit younger than her, all right, but sure isn't her biological clock ticking away for the last few years? In fact, I'd say the alarm went off last year sometime. Tell the truth now, Cepta, I'm not that gone on him. He's like a fella has a poker up his arse. He's that stiff in himself, if you know what I mean. Of course, himself can't get over the good of it all. A doctor marrying into the family. Sure, says he, aren't we one up now on those McDonoughs a few doors down, and their daughter only married a pig farmer up in Cavan, where you wouldn't know what they're saying. I'll go now, Cepta. They're ringing the gong for dinner, and you need to get in early, or you could end up beside some culchie who doesn't know a soup spoon from a dessert spoon. Bye for now.